Hey dudes, it's the Crypto Rocker with the Crypto Rocker channel. And did you guys see Jerome Powell today and the Federal Reserve and these guys, these idiots? I mean, they're freaking great. There's a time when I didn't like them. Now I love them. I think they're the greatest in the world. These guys are great. They're going to be cutting rates. They send all the markets running sky high. You know, I was going to tell you guys about this theory about that this other guy has about the 1920s. Okay? And I wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's really interesting how the 1920s, how the 2020s, this decade that we're living in right now is starting to look an awful lot like the 1920s. Okay? Man, my sleep gets in the way every time. Okay. So, back in the 1920s, apparently at the very beginning of the 1920s, there was a horrible influenza pandemic. The influenza killed millions of people. It was this horrible thing. And it caused, of course, as you could imagine, it caused a lot of bad stuff in every aspect of life, but also in markets, the stock market, everything. People were very hurt financially. There was a time of hardship for regular people. Work was not, there wasn't a lot of work. There was, I think, probably inflation was going on and things like that. People couldn't afford goods and services. People were struggling. And it was like the first 3 or 4 years of the 1920s were hard times for everybody. And you had the influenza, which was, at the very beginning of that. Okay. And then in about 1924, all this pent-up pressure of people just wanting to get out of this bad time sort of broke loose, and it gave rise to a period of time called the Roaring Twenties. They coined that phrase. I'm sure somebody coined it afterwards, looking back on it, because all of a sudden, from about 1924, for the rest of the decade, there was just an explosion of prosperity. And every industry began to grow, and the markets went wild, and people started making money hand over fist, and all of a sudden people everywhere started to really thrive. And they call it the Roaring Twenties. Now, at the end of the Roaring Twenties, there was the Great Depression, which happened in like 1929. It was a huge run up, and then things did crash at the end of that period. Well, there's a guy, I don't even know who it is. I heard this theory, and I'm just kind of rehashing some of the things that I had heard. Here we are in the 2020s. It's 2020, late 2023 right now. Merry Christmas, by the way, everybody. We're 11 days to Christmas. And this is the most special time right now. Okay, everybody, if you've been, I don't care how old you are, you've probably started to realize that when you get to Christmas Day, it's a little anticlimactic because, you get there and there's nothing really special about it. It's just another day. You sit down to Christmas dinner, you open some presents, hopefully you get together with some family. So the real special time I have found is in the days and weeks leading up to that. When there's presents under the tree, there's the excitement of Christmas is coming, the lights are up, you're still on this side of Christmas, you're looking forward to it, that it's sort of Christmas spirit is in the air, you're feeling so good about it. This is the special time. This is the wonderful time. So I want to just remind everybody to make sure to really enjoy each of these days as much as you possibly can as we look forward to Christmas. We got 11 days more, so get some eggnog, put up some lights inside so you can see them, things like that. I should do that. I should take you throughout the house here, and I'll just show you. So we got some lights up here. What was that? Beautiful Christmas tree down there. I don't know what I just dropped in here. That could be horrible. That could be terrible. Okay. So anyway. Terrible, horrible music. The Crypto Rocker is off his game today. I just can't even play. My hands are so cold. Look at this. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was talking about the 1920s. Here we are, it's the 2020s. At the very beginning of this decade, in the 2020s, we had the COVID pandemic hit right at the same time, right at the very beginning, right? That gave way to years of inflation, pain in the markets, regular people struggling to make it, hard times, interest rates going up, people having a hard time making it and getting basic goods and services for their families, the cost of those things going up. And basically, it's been 4 years of pain. The early part of the 2020s has been pretty bad. I don't think anybody could really deny that. You know, there's been a lot of there's been a lot of wars. There's been pandemic. There's been crazy activity in the markets. There's been a lot of stuff. Okay. Well, the theory goes that we're coming out of all of that now as we're reaching and coming into 2024. And I can feel it. I got to tell you, I can sort of feel that a tide is turning, that something's going on. And this recent Fed meeting where Jerome Powell is getting up there, that's sort of evidence to the fact. He's saying, yeah, they're going to cut rates. This is it. Things are going to start turning around, and what's going to happen is that is going to make people feel like they are free now to begin to put money into riskier assets again. So you're going to see money going in, and what happens as soon as he says that, boom, money flowing into the stock market, money flowing into the crypto market. Well, that's just the beginning. This is all just starting. As things begin to turn, it starts off slow and then it picks up momentum and it picks up speed. Well, my theory is that we are on track. So far, the first part of this decade looks exactly like the 1920s. And if it stays on track, then that means we are coming into a period of time which could be characterized by the roaring 20s of our century. Things are going to turn around, and everything, all of this pent-up energy and all of this downturn and all of this suppression that's been going on for 4 years is about to explode into a time of prosperity for the whole country, which is going to probably last about 5 years. But here's the one caveat and downside to that if things really do stay on track, yeah, we're in for a great period of prosperity over the next 5 years or so, but then it's going to end with a crash. By 1929, there was a massive crash, and so by 2029, as this prosperity and everything, it's gonna, because human emotion is the way it is, most likely there'll be so much energy and so much money pouring into all of these markets that it'll create a bubble. It'll be too much because people don't know how to hold back. People don't know how to restrain themselves, and you're not going to get massive amounts of people, millions of people, say, okay, calm down, everybody. Let's not put too much money in. Let's not go too crazy. No, you can't do that. People are going to do what people are going to do. And human emotion is going to run wild because it always runs wild. There's no restraining it. You know what I mean? So it's going to result in a big bubble in the stock market, a big bubble in the crypto market, and all these markets are going to blow up huge, and everybody's going to be FOMOing, and everybody's going to be jumping on the bandwagon. Yeah, we're all going to get rich. And a lot of people are. And then it's going to lead to a time closer to the end of this decade when that bubble will inevitably have to deflate, and things will have to come back down to reality because of the fact that everything will have pumped up so much. And this is if everything stays on track with the way it was back in the 1900s, that things will come back down. Now, hopefully they won't crash all the way down like they did in the 1900s, and I don't think they will, because back at that time there was this crazy banking thing that happened where, my theory was that it was done on purpose so that certain globalist interests could basically take over all of the privately owned banks that were spread out all across this country. And they bought them all up for pennies on the dollar. And that's why you only see a few. There's now just a few banks. They're all under the big bank umbrellas now. But hopefully that won't happen again. It'll be like a softer landing. But nevertheless, at the end of this decade, there'll probably be a bursting of the bubble. There'll be a deflation, a deflating of all of the craziness. So let that be a lesson. If you're getting into these markets now, don't forget to take profits out during the height of this, when these markets are all going crazy and building up. Take something out for yourself and put it on the side and get it out of the markets so that you've got something to show for all of this time of prosperity that we're getting ready to enter into. So with that said, anyway, this is a Crypto Rocker, and we'll see you guys in the Roaring 20s. Yeah!